Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel, The Quality Analyst. I hope you are doing great. So in the previous sessions, we finished all the set of work related to Java, Selenium, browser drivers. So everything is ready now. And also we have covered one simple basic test in our last lecture. So today we are finally getting into the most exciting part of Selenium. Today, today's session is all about actually writing and running the automation code. And I want to be very clear about one thing right from the start. Automation does not start when you open Eclipse or IntelliJ. Automation starts much earlier. It starts with thinking clearly. Okay. And to demonstrate that properly, we are going to automate the most common real world scenario you will ever see in any project. That is the login functionality. So we are not using any random website. So, but from our own practice HTML page, the one which we have been building and using throughout this course. Okay, so make sure you stay till the end because this session is extremely important for your foundation. So now a very common mistake beginners make is they jump straight into writing Selenium code. Okay, so they open ID, start typing driver.find element, and then they get stuck. So why? So because automation is not about typing code fast. Automation is about converting human actions into machine instructions. So before we write even a single line of Selenium code, we need to answer three simple questions. First, what exactly are we testing? Okay, so in our case, it's very clear. We are testing the login page on our practice website. The second is what steps does a real user perform to log in? Okay, and third, how do we know that login was successful? So if you can answer these three questions clearly, automation becomes easy. Okay, so if you cannot, then automation becomes very confusing. Okay, so let's slow it down and plan this properly. Okay, so imagine you are a manual tester, not an automation tester. Okay, so what you do, you would open a browser. Let's say, let me open the browser first. Okay, so maybe we will see it here. Okay, so this is our page. This is our practice page. Okay, so we'll go to the browser. Okay, and then navigate to this particular website. Okay, which is a login feature. Okay, and then here, like we will just add the username. We'll add the password, and then we will click on login. Okay, so let's say for example, if I do it, so the dummy username password, I will just add it here, 123, and then click on login. So once you click on login, it should show some validation that is login successful. Okay, so these are the steps. These are your manual test steps. Okay, and now here is the most important line I want you to remember. Automation is nothing but manual testing written in a code. Okay, so if your manual steps are clear, your automation will always be clean. Okay, so why planning matters? So many beginners skip this planning step, and when they do, they face problems like element not found, wrong validations, confusing codes, and tests that break very easily. Okay, but when you plan first, your code has direction, your logic makes sense, and your test becomes readable. So in real companies, no automation engineer writes code without understanding the test scenario first. So please remember, this is a golden rule. Plan first and then code second. Okay. So now let's convert our planned steps into the Selenium actions. Okay. So I will also write the code parallelly. Okay. And then we will explain you how things work. Okay. So let me open the ID here. And then as it is a login functionality, we will name the test as login test, or maybe login validation test, and then just enter after it, and then we have the class created. Okay, and now I will again add main method here. Okay, so the first step is to open the browser. Okay, in even in manual testing, the first thing we do is open the browser. And in Selenium, this line like is replicated by using code, right? So like which we saw in earlier lecture, right? WebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. So that does exactly the same thing, which opens the browser, okay, as we do in manual. Okay, so let's say WebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. Okay, so again import the classes. Okay, so now we have this driver instance created. Okay, so here we are telling the Selenium open Chrome and take control of it. Without this line, automation cannot even start. So if you don't write this, our automation will not start. Okay, and then now once the browser gets opened, the next step is to navigate to the URL. Okay, so now to navigate to the URL, we have method that is driver.get. So get is nothing but a WebDriver method, and then if you see here, it asks for the string URL. Okay, so I will simply pass our URL. Just go to this, and then I will simply use this URL. Okay, and then add it here, and then again as usual, just add a semicolon at the end of the line. And the second line, so this one, like user types the application URL in the browser, and in automation that can be replicated by using driver.get. Okay, is the equivalent of entering URL. Okay, so if the URL is wrong, the entire test cases will fail, just like manual testing. So if even if you are, let's say for example, if you are putting the wrong URL, let's say maybe I will add something like this, HTTP. Oh, this is working. Okay, sorry, I will just change it here. Okay, so you see it's not working and it's going to somewhere else. Okay, so in that case our test case will fail at the next point, right? So there is no point in navigating like this. Okay, so if your URL is wrong, the entire test will fail. Okay, the next step is to add the username and password. So again I will just open that particular link here. Okay, so now we need to enter this username and the password. Okay, so to do this manually we can simply type in, right? But for automation we have different methods. So we need to locate this element first, like this text field first, username and password, and then again after locating the login button we need to click on it. Okay, so to locate it we need to use the XPath or different types of locators. Okay, so I will inspect this, right click on this page and inspect, and then again, like if you want to if you want to just check the HTML code for password, then you can simply use this button here, select an element in this page to inspect, select, and then select the age, select this particular element which you want to locate. So you see this is login password and this is login username. Okay, so it has ID attribute, again this has ID attribute. Okay, so again we will be discussing this in more detail with different examples in our upcoming sessions, but for now, like just we will see like what kind of things we need to do for automating the test. Okay, so here like we have ID here. So now I will just locate the element with the ID. So driver dot find element. Okay, and then by dot XPath, again we will discuss this in more detail, and then not XPath by ID, and then you see it accepts string ID. So just pass this ID here, and then we can use the method that is send keys, which takes the character sequence. So again simply we will just pass the username here. Okay, similarly we have a step for password also. So again for password also we have similar kind of element that is ID, and then we need to pass that particular attribute. Okay, so you see this ID, so login password, and then do it, and then again send keys, and then now the password is admin123. Okay, so what it will do is it will just add the username, it will add the password, and then After that, we need to click on the login button. So again, we need to locate this login button first. Okay, just again locate this and then select the button, and then you see there is a button tag here. Again, we will be discussing on HTML basics as well, but yeah, like for now, again, this is for the demonstration purpose. Okay, so I will use this text, and then I can write the XPath here. I will use the text function, and then you see, like, we are able to locate this element. It is showing 1 of 1. Okay, so again, just copy this, and then now I will write one more line here, driver dot find element by dot. This time we need to use XPath because we are using XPath here. Just path XPath, and then just click. As this is a button, we can simulate it, like as in manual we are just clicking on it. So we are using this method, that is click, okay, which will basically simulate the user action, the clicking action for login. Okay, so now once this is done, the last is the important part, that is the validation part. So let's say, for example, if we click on a button, let's say if you click on a button, it should show some validation, right? So either we should be navigated to the different page, or the next page, or the home page, or else there should be some message. So this is the important part, that is validation. So automation is not about clicking buttons, it is about checking whether the expected results appear. Okay, so like for assertion, so generally we use assertion for this case. For assertions, we need to add the another dependency, that is the test ng dependency, which we are not adding right now, but we will add it a simple validation with using the Java code. Okay, so the assertion will decide whether the test case will pass or fail. Okay, so let me add it. So now you see, right, so we have this message here. So again, I need to locate that particular message because this is my validation point. And now you see there is a class that is success, and then the login successful. So maybe I will try to use the class, like we are not supposed to use the class, but yeah, like for now, again, for the demonstration, we will use class. Okay, I think it was span, sorry, again locate it, and then this is span, and then this is the way of writing the XPath. And then you see there are two results are there, like 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. So I will simply add the index here. Let's say 1. Okay, so with 1 it is showing 1 of 1, so I will just use this for now. Okay, and now let's say driver dot find element, again by dot XPath, just add that particular XPath, and then I will just store this XPath in a variable. Okay, so let's say sorry, web element. This is web element. Okay, it will return web element, or if you if you can try, let's say for example, login element. Okay, and then if you see here, the return type is web element. Okay, so that's why we need to write the particular web element, like the return type here as well. Okay, so this is a web element now. Okay, so now we will add some validation here. Let's say validation, and then I will just add it simply login element dot get text, so which will take the particular text of that particular element, this element. So that is nothing but our login successful. Okay, so maybe just copy this. I will use the same here, and then get text dot, maybe you can use contains, or maybe you can use equals as well. So I will use contains here, and then so if login element dot get text contains this message, then I want to print system dot out dot print line, and then I want to print test is passed. Okay, test passed. Or else in other case, I want to write the statement that is test failed. Okay, so this is how we write the test case. So if the test case is, if the message contains this login successful, the test will pass simply, or else it will fail. Okay, so this is how Selenium gives confidence to testers. Okay, so and then at the end, so once our validations are over, at the end we will use driver.quit, the cleanup activity, driver.quit. So finally we will close the browser and clean up. So always quit the browser, otherwise you will end up with multiple open browsers. Okay, so it's better to add driver.quit at the end. So again, there is another method, driver.quit and driver.close. So we will discuss that in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so now let's walk through this, like what is our like Selenium script is doing conceptually. Okay, so first Selenium launches the browser. Okay, and then it opens our practice website. Okay, and then it finds the user field and type the username here, that is admin. Again, later, if like it finds the password field and types the password, and then it clicks on the login button. Okay, so finally Selenium checks for the entire success message, so something like login successful. If that message contains in the particular element, our test case passes, or else it will fail. Okay, and at the end we are just simply closing our browser. So every professional Selenium test follows this same logic structure. Okay, so one thing I want you to notice here is the Selenium code follows the exact same order as our test steps, the manual test steps. So that's not a coincidence, that's a good automation design. So when your code matches your plan, anyone can understand it, maintenance becomes easier, and debugging becomes easier. So this is how real automation frameworks are built in companies. Okay, so now comes the most satisfying part. So when we run the test, something amazing happens. The browser opens automatically, the website loads, the username and password are typed automatically, the login button is clicked, and the success message appears. So all of this happens without us touching the keyboard. So this is usually the moment when people fall in love with automation. Okay, so let me run the test case. Just click on run and then you can simply run it. It's taking some time here. So usually it doesn't take that much of time, but yeah, like maybe my laptop is too slow. You see the browser is loaded, and then you see within some seconds the test case got passed. Okay, so this way, like we need to follow the manual steps, and then your Selenium script will be fine. Okay, so now let me be honest with you. So your test may fail sometimes, and that's completely okay. So you might see errors like element not found, timing issues, wrong locator, or forgot to switch window. So these are not failures, these are learning moments. So every single automation engineer you admire today face these exact same problems. Okay, so let's say for example, if I just change this element here. Okay, so let me add something else here. Okay, and then I will run it again. and now this time it won't be able to find out this particular element, and then it will throw you no such element found exception. Okay, so let's see. So you see the browser got loaded, and then it should have been failed. Okay, you see the process finished with exit code 1, and you see there is an exception in the thread, no such element exception, no such element unable to locate this one. So again, if you change it, then you should be able to run it. Okay, so these are the things like you will get to know better like in the upcoming sessions. So before we end up this session, like let me give you an important tips. Always plan your test case before automation. Start with simple scenarios like login. Use the stable locators. Again, we will be discussing more on locators in our upcoming lectures. Always validate results, and most importantly, focus on understanding, not memorizing. So if you do that, Selenium becomes logical and enjoyable. So let's quickly recap what we did today. We understood that automation starts with planning. So we created a login test case. We converted manual steps into the Selenium actions, and we ran our first successful automation test. So this is a huge milestone in your automation journey. So in the next video, we will go over multiple test scenarios, improve our validations, and start restructuring the test like a real automation framework. So before you go, if this video helped you, please like it, subscribe to the channel for more real world Selenium content, and share this video with anyone learning automation. And comments below, login automated. I personally read every comment. I will see you in the next class. Thank you so much.